Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be here in Karlstad today. A historic day when we've opened our new International Orienteering Federation office. And it is really exciting for me to be here. And I've been asked to speak about orienteering today. Well, let me tell you about this small sport which started here in Sweden. Are there any Norwegians here? Okay, it's a small sport which started here in Sweden. I tell a different story when I'm a few miles to the north. And a small sport, which for many years was limited to a few people who ran in a forest. But orienteering today, this very day, the day we are opening our office here in Karlstad, is a truly global sport. If you've not had a look at the World Orienteering Day website, please do that, because you will see that on this day, the 11th of May 2016, our sport, which started here in the forests of Scandinavia, is now in Chile, in Greenland, in Siberia, in New Zealand, in New Caledonia, in Malawi, in Cameroon, in Algeria, and many, many other countries. In other words, we are truly a world sport. And so when I speak about orienteering today, and especially when I'm meeting people from the International Olympic Committee, I say to them, what you have to understand is, not only are we a world sport, we were actually quite a different world sport. We're a world sport that prides itself on having competitors under the age of 5 and over the age of 95. And there are very few sports that can do that. Very few sports that help you to age well. Very few sports that pride themselves in being a family sport. And yet, at the top level, have some of the fittest and most intelligent athletes in the world. I'm not saying that, Ada, because you're there. But that's true. So we are quite a unique sport. We're also a winter sport and a summer sport. There's a picture of the summer sport up there. And we're also a 4-discipline sport. We have running orienteering, we have mountain bike orienteering, we have ski orienteering, and we have trail orienteering. We have 4 disciplines that are all important to us. So when I talk about orienteering today, I don't just talk about running, and I certainly don't just talk about running in forests. We can be running in urban areas, and we can be skiing in areas that have snow. So we're a global sport presently with 80 members. But one of the reasons that I can feel very positive about our Olympic journey, because believe me, that's the journey that we are on, an Olympic journey to get into either the Winter Games or the Summer Games. One of the reasons I can feel really positive about that is that not only are we practiced all over the world, as I said today to one of the journalists, and he thought it was a good quote, on every continent but Antarctica today. And actually, we'd have managed Antarctica if we'd had World Orienteering Day in the winter, because of course it's dark in Antarctica at the moment. I'm sure we could have arranged it. But not only are we a global sport with lots of participation around the world, but we are actually now a sport which has good quality television. And I'm really excited about the World Championships this summer here in Sweden, because I'm certain that you will lift the television coverage of our World Championships to a higher level. At the moment, we are optimistic about the World Championships being seen in up to 90 countries and territories around the world, subject to the broadcasting negotiations we're making. And you know, one of the reasons we can do that is that we now have a very strong television product. A sport which has traditionally been in the forest, out of sight, can now be seen. And we have some outstanding personalities. But the thing that has changed our sport beyond all recognition is the technology. And GPS tracking, satellite tracking, actually shows what's going on our field of play. When you watch a football match, you can see most of what is going on, even if you don't understand the offside rule, like my wife. But in orienteering, it has always been difficult to understand what is going on. Not anymore. There's nothing hidden. Sorry, Ada, there is nothing hidden. Not that you make any mistakes, but when people make mistakes or make route choices that are different, then now we can see them and we can analyze them. So we are a televisable sport which people can understand. We are a big sport. We're a sport with good television. And we're also a sport which is attractive to young people. One of the priorities of the International Olympic Committee is to include sports in the Olympic Games which appeal to young people. And orienteering, as you could see, those of you that were at the school this morning, you could see the joy that school pupils were getting from just taking part in our sport. But there are other aspects of orienteering that make it particularly appealing to young people. And not least the technology. We're one of the few sports that you don't just get the live pictures, but you also get the computer game at the same time. And you can use the computer game afterwards, and you can see how your favorite competitors compared against each other. And I'm rehearsing this argument. Sorry to use you as, we would say in English, guinea pigs, but I'm practicing this argument for the IOC. Because orienteering has the ability to attract young people like no other sports. And we believe that's particularly important from the technology point of view. So this is a historic day. It is a historic day because we have opened our office here in Karlstad. But it is a historic day because it's the first day that we've actually been able to prove what our global footprint really looks like. That's not up to date. This map has been changing daily. It's actually been changing hourly, I think, today, as people rush to register their events. I think the last count, it was 2,254 locations around the world in something like 80 countries and territories. There's not much of the map that isn't covered. And when I've shown that map to the International Olympic Committee sports department, they've said, wow, we didn't know your sport was like that. So, Tom, I was asked to speak about orienteering today. How would I sum that up? Orienteering today is on an Olympic journey. Orienteering today has the values that it has always had and must always have in terms of being a family sport, being a sport with friendship at the heart, and being a sport where fair competition is important. But we are a sport on that Olympic journey. And I am optimistic, but that's my nature, that our route choices will take us into the Winter Games or the Summer Games in living memory. So I'm optimistic that we'll get on that journey. The International Olympic Committee has changed the way it is doing things in terms of the Olympic Games, which makes it more possible for us to go in that direction. But my hope is, as the sport goes in that direction, we will hold on to the values that have been important in all the years that we've had. So thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Karlstad, for having us here. And thank you for whatever part you play on supporting the journey of orienteering on what is a very historic day. Thank you.